Squat every day, day 5. I want to know how you're going with this. The idea is that we build a team and we set a standard for ourselves and for others and lead others to results that they haven't had before as we get to places we haven't been before. I'm feeling really good squatting each day at the moment. Each day I feel a little bit more mobile, like it's easier to warm up and get into the movements. Generally, I'll do some of the ATG stuff, so I'm going to show you that first. Generally, before I squat heavy, I'm going to use some of these banded movements. So, for example, I don't actually have a post at the moment. I'm going to put like a hook or something, screw it into the wall. If you have any suggestions around upgrading this gym, things that you would do, I want to put like some chin-up bars sort of things across and ladders and things and make it really compatible with the children as well. They're having tons of fun with the rings and the ropes. Maybe you've seen some of those posts on Instagram, children having a ton of fun in the gym. That's how I want it to be here as well. That's why I've got the squat stands, so that things can be moved out of the way really easily if we want to, and it becomes like a big open area. It's 12 meters by 6 meters, 5 meters high, which is quite a big gym. So yeah, I do some of that. You can do it alternating legs, or I probably will get one of the new knees over toes guy ATG dead mills at some stage, but shipping is a bit of a hassle here to Montenegro. Then I'll generally do the Poliquin variation of the step up is a good one. Even getting the heel to come off the board. So it's sort of like a hybrid then between the Poliquin and the Peterson. You can name that for yourself, however you would call that. Polison, Peterquin, whatever. So the step ups, it's not necessary to max all this stuff out for height or weight to get benefit from it. If it makes you feel good before you squat, then that's a good thing. I also generally will spend a bunch of time in the bottom of the squat. I like to kind of have a feel that I'm strong in all the ranges, that I can stop in any position and drive from any position. So we want all the positions to be strong. Generally, there's either a pain spot or a dead spot somewhere in the range. We want to get rid of those. So that is something that we'll do first. Today it's going to be a bit more volume. So if you've been watching the other sessions, you'll be thinking like, okay, yeah, you're squatting every day, but you're doing like 8 reps and you're doing two or three heavy reps, where that's kind of the idea in my mind, is to make it repeatable. Now, I mentioned John Bros is squatting, and he would have guys hit like 8 reps, singles at near maximal weight, or get to the top weight and then do back offsets, those kinds of things. I'm not looking to put all of my energy, my training energy or my life force into this project of the squat, but I am putting significant energy there. So I want to stay fresh. The goal is to stay fresh. Work as hard as you can, as often as you can, while staying as fresh as you can. The Russian system of training they would talk about always have 50% reps in reserve. So if you can do 6 reps, then you should do no more than 3. Maybe you do 2. If you train in this way, then you're always ready for the next session. And generally the bar speed's going to be good as well. I don't necessarily always do this, but it's sound advice and it's a good takeoff point for like, okay, yeah, not everything needs to be to failure to the last rep. And that's ideally, what I'm showing you. I think some of the couple of thousand people that have seen these videos over the last few days, if some of the training improves for people watching, then it's a job well done. If you realize, okay, it doesn't have to get ugly, it doesn't have to be maximal to be useful, then that's a good thing. What I missed from the ATG demo warm-up that I showed you, doing some banded work, doing some step-ups, and then doing some full squat position bounces, deep knee bend bounces. The other thing that I would include there would be some ATG split squats. They will make squats feel a lot more fluent as well if you get some time in this position. It's quite similar to the deep squat, to the deep knee bends that I did, but loosening off the hip flexors a little bit is a good thing as well. Bottom pulses. I find that if I do some of this each day, whether I do it in between warm-up sets, like I sort of am now, or before, keeps me feeling young, fresh. Otherwise, it's very easy to start feeling very old and creaky if you max out squats each day. You don't get into any of the long range positions. So the big thing is to continue to get length into the area. I think you recover a lot better and pick up less niggles, less injuries. Training before I knew about long range was a lot of wasted time and years, a lot of extra soreness that didn't need to be there, injuries. Squat more and you'll squat more. Squat more often, squat more weight, and you'll end up squatting more. It's not the only way to get to a great place by squatting. Definitely one way. And think about if I can nasal breathe in between chatting away. It's not that easy. See how we go. Has anyone played around much with oxygen advantage, nasal breathing, based on Buteko's work? It's become quite popular in the last year or two. I checked it out when it first came out, I think 2016 maybe, oxygen advantage book. So angel investors are the people who look for trends in things. They see trends and they get in early. It's what angel investors do. I think that's been my path. And maybe a lot of people who tend to follow my stuff are similar. Tend to see things early, see what's going to be good, what is really good. That's what angel investors do, except they become multimillionaires, billionaires, because they see, oh yeah, that's going to do well. I saw Ido Portal in 2013. I was like, well, yeah, this is going to do well. 2023, finally, the spin-off movements of Ido Portal, lots of different movement guys are starting to do really well, gain following, teach people how to do a lot of the things that Ido started to popularize. And he was a blend of things, right? He was the first CrossFit box outside of the USA, is what he told me in Israel. So like, you know, he had lots of different influences with Poliquin, Capoeira, CrossFit, Coach Summer, gymnastic body stuff. Little double bounce. Lights. So the angel investor concept, unfortunately, in fitness, it's not as easy to go make money on things that are going to win as it is with tech companies, cryptocurrencies. If you see, okay, yeah, this is going to win big, I'm going to buy some shares, it's going to go to the moon. Unfortunately, I couldn't buy shares in Oxygen Advantage, couldn't buy shares in Ito Portal, couldn't buy shares in ATG, even though I started ATG for coaches and did well out of that business. But if we do get into this crypto economy, more of an NFT-based economy, you will actually be able to invest and be an early partner in projects, potentially. It's not set up that way at the moment where you can pay dividends to people who buy in early in your company. It's sort of, monopolized for public companies, and there's a lot of red tape around it for private companies. Well, it's one possibility for the financial future. If we could get to much more community-owned businesses, I would have definitely bought into Ito Portal 2013. I did buy in. I bought his $1,000 3-month program, paid $6,500 US to go to Thailand. Probably cost me about 10 grand. By the time I took my wife, stayed at the fancy hotel, flights. And at that time, I didn't really have much money. I traveled for most of my 20s. I worked 2 years in France as the strength coach for Catalan Dragons. They came last year before we were there. We had 2 winning seasons. And then 2013, I knew I was going to be a father. I knew I was going to be a husband. And we still didn't own a car, when I went to Ito Portal. So that was the state in life. It was before I had any significant resources. I just had a job working with the Sydney Roosters. It was decent pay, but it's expensive to live in Sydney as well. We live by the beach. So I would love that kind of model of economy where if you can get in early and then you can help things to win. Imagine if there's a lot of good businesses come out of the networks, things that I've been building and supporting, and it makes it more fun. The way I've set up Uncommon Success from the start, I set it up with NFTs, and the NFTs have the functionality of 50% off. So some of the guys who bought an NFT for around $500 or someone bought it $2,000, now it's 50% off. Our program's $2,000 a year. So you get $1,000 off. And then there's other things, other events. That functionality, as we continue to grow, that NFT becomes more and more valuable. The negative is that most people still don't understand NFTs and they think it's scammy and whatever. We built pure functionality with the NFT. And the idea is that everyone who plays Uncommon Success actually is, in effect, like a shareholder. And technically, they're not shareholders and you can't talk about things like that and you can't give dividends and whatnot, but it's possible that becomes less regulated and it does become like that. Gary Vee's spoken about it where it could be possible to pay out dividends to the people who've supported your business. So 5% of your profits or 50% of your profits could go to the people who bought the NFTs or people who hold your tokens in your company. If the past is anything to go by, there are going to be a lot of 6- and 7-figure businesses emerge from Uncommon Success. When we had Real Movement, the digital online version, ATG was the big brand. to kind of come out of that. And Ben was more like a co-founder of Real Movement online version than a student, but he was teaching what he knew, and he had 500 coaches learning from him and supporting him when he was just getting started, and before he was on Rogan, and before a lot of those things. The same was true for range of strength. Range of strength was a word that I was using to describe what we were doing with ATG, and I wanted it to become less of a mystery, how to become strong through stretching. And so range of strength was a term that made sense to me. And then Ben Patrick said it to, Lucas when we were there in Florida, hey, you should use that as your Instagram handle. And I was kind of not really, I was in support of it, but it was like, there's something that I came up with and a term that I really like using. And then, it's not as usable now for me because it's become something else that requires a lot of time, and it's a whole niche thing. It's really cool what's been created there, but it wasn't what the term was created for initially. But yeah, there was there are dozens of brands that started during that Real Movement wave that now have 50,000 or 100,000 followers and significant businesses. The same's happened with ATG for coaches, and the same is starting to happen with Uncommon Success. So ideally, the business structure would support that. I don't know if that makes sense. If you're coming at this from more of a training background, you might be bored out of your brains and wanting me to hurry up with the squats. But the future of the economy really does matter. The future of money really does matter. How business works. It's big questions. Are we going to have central bank, digital currencies? Obviously, all the plans are laid out for digital currencies, but then how are the smart contracts going to work? Is it going to be money where you only get to buy stuff if the government gives you permission? For example, like a quota, okay, that's enough meat, it's too much carbon, or you've done too much flying for the year. Like private money has been one of the foundations of freedom and abundance and the success and growth of the global economy over the last couple hundred years. Is that going to be something that can be sustained, or does the control of what you can buy, when you can buy it, is that part of what's coming now? Probably for some countries, right? Probably not for others, probably not for everybody. Like, it's not something to be super fearful of, but studying it, looking at it, it makes a lot of sense. So if you have questions about this, or you're thinking about it, I'd love to hear from you. I know some of you have looked seriously at cryptocurrencies, and you're interested in what the future holds in terms of freedom, in terms of politics. Let's go 110 with the pause. Good. $120. So I wish that the economy was even more free than what it is now, and if those digital currencies allowed us to invest in each other and support each other. What if the best players in Uncommon Success or ATG or Real Movement were able to have foundational 100 NFTs, and guys within the network who can see, oh yeah, this person's got potential, they buy those NFTs, but then they also are incentivized to help that person grow, to mastermind together, and to, Nadia wants some help with this. We're gonna do something with this ring. What do you want me to do? Put it down? What? I'm not sure what she wants me to do. I'm going to continue. So these are big questions, big challenges. What's the future going to look like? We have to decide what we want. and then act on that in the way that makes most sense. So for some, that means buying a farm. For some, that means buying Bitcoin. For some, that means buying gold and silver. For some, that means holding on to doing things exactly the same as they've been doing, backing the share market, backing the property market. $120 with a pause. That was top weight yesterday. It was all right. Whatever's going to happen, the most important thing is to continue to improve ourselves, to be connected to other people who are setting goals, getting after things. What's your bigger picture? What is it that you're working towards? What is it that you're helping to build? For me, I want to continue to support men who do things like what Nico's done with the Bali Time Chamber, having those discussions. Okay, you've built yourself a little hotel. What's the best way you can imagine using this? And having that discussion over 25 days while I was there in Bali has now led to a dozen men having the experience of a lifetime. And then, that's now looking like it's going to progress into the next big thing. So Bali Time Chamber, now you can actually go and stay there at any stage. So you can book a 25-day stay anytime you want, which is amazing. It's going to be huge quality of content, quality of personal transformations that come out of that beautiful place. 1:30. Yeah, probably could have paused, but don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. Another day, another top single. Got a bit more volume on the way up. I was thinking about doing a lot more 10s, but that's what it was for today. I like being relatively instinctive with it. Love to hear your thoughts, where you think this is all going, whether you want to see more cryptocurrency, digital NFT driven future. It's possible now to have NFT gated content and issue rewards, have different Discord channels open, etc., based on NFTs. This kind of community development really could be another level of these online communities, which I love building, I love being a part of. I'm part of a few other ones that are not my own business as well. And I'm excited to see this space expand, and I think the freedom to expand these kinds of businesses is something that's very, very important. And so the more of us that think about it, the more of us that do things, the better. Now, it is challenging once you start looking at cryptocurrencies. There's so much hype. There's so many people who are just paid off to sell things that they don't even really care about, or they know they're actually selling when they're telling you to buy. Those kinds of things happen in that world. It's, wherever there's a lot of money, it's really the Wild West in that scene. But I think part of the reason why it's been made so tough is because it could be a really, really key part of our financial future together. So yeah, love to hear your thoughts. Let's get after these squats and we'll speak again soon.